Hey, how's it going? Michael here. This is my gear loadout video for my 2026 Pacific Crest Trail thru hike attempt. Let's get into it. Okay, let's start with the clothing. The pants and the shirt that I'm wearing, I believe were purchased at REI a long time ago. I was actually wearing the same shirt and the same pants for my 2018 Pacific Crest Trail thru hike attempt. So I thought it'd be kind of fun to start the trail in the same outfit. In addition to the shirt and the pants, underneath, I will be wearing a black t-shirt or a black tank top, and I'll be wearing these, they're 7-inch running shorts from REI. And as far as my socks and shoes go, I'll be wearing the Topo Athletic Traverse, and for my socks, I'll be wearing the Injinji toe socks with REI sock liners. I started doing this a while ago, and ever since I started combining Injinjis with liners, I have never gotten a blister. So in addition to the shirt, the pants, I got these SPF 50 sun protection gloves. I know that starting out on the trail, when you're not used to being out in the sun all day, you could get really nasty sunburns on your hands. So I picked these up. It'll be my first time trying something like this. Again, back in 2018, I had this Sunday afternoon hat that I'll be taking again on the trail, as well as these sunglasses. And as far as my trekking poles go, I'll be hiking with these vintage Lecky trekking poles. The cork handles, I've had them for 15, 20 years. The only thing I've needed to do is replace the tips a couple times, but they've been great, and so I'll be taking these with me. All right, let's get into the gear. First thing I got hanging off the side of my pack are these camp shoes. So these are the Jimmies. They weigh 6 3/4 ounces. They are a foldable sandal, which seemed cool before ordering it, but once I got them, it seemed like they take up less room on your pack when they are flat, as opposed to when they are folded. They seem like they would just take up more space. So the folding thing, whatever, but 6 3/4 ounces. So I have some shoes at camp. All right, let's start pulling stuff out. Here we go. The OG trowel coming in at 1 3/4 ounces. Next, the Message New Testament. This is 5 3/8 ounces. All right. The Katadyn water filter, 13 1/2 ounces. What? You never heard of a Sawyer Squeeze? I do have a Sawyer Squeeze. I have a couple of them, but I really like these Katadyn pump water filters. They've helped me out in the past with really stagnant sources of water. I'm taking it. It weighs a little bit more, but this is my water filter. All right, next is my first aid kit. My first aid kit is 4 1/8 ounce. And basic stuff in here, I have some Advil, sewing kit, tweezers, a couple Band-Aids. Probably the most important thing in the first aid kit is the mosquito head net. Definitely need one of these. Okay, a Nalgene wide mouth, 46 ounce. In addition to this, I will be taking a couple of smart water bottles or something similar to that. I like taking the large mouth Nalgene because I do protein shakes on the trail, and it's really difficult to get the protein powder into like a smart water bottle. So I like this mainly for that reason. All right, in this bag, I'm not gonna pull it out, is the Z-Packs poncho and ground sheet. This weighs in at 6 3/4 ounces. The poncho is big enough to go over yourself and your pack. while you're hiking, and it also works as the ground sheet for your duplex tent if you have one of those. So the last piece of gear I have attached to the outside of my pack is the Nemo switchback. This weighs 15 1/8 ounce. I'll be using this as my sleeping pad for the first 700 miles of the trail. In my winter gear that I'll get into, I will be sending up a different sleeping pad to use in addition to this one. But this is fine for me. I don't need an air pad for really for comfort or warmth in that first section. This will be enough. All right, in the hip belt pocket, I have a Swiss Army knife weighing 2 5/8 ounce. I also have my headlamp in one of the hip belt pockets. It's 1.5 ounces. It's a rechargeable headlamp. Okay, now I guess we should do the pack since it's right here. It is the Kakwa 55 from Durston Gear, when that came in at 2 pounds and 1 ounce. All right, rain gear. Got my Frog Togs, rain jacket and pants, 10 3/8 ounces. I may not even need this. Gonna start off with it anyways. All right, in here I have my El Coyote Quilts 10-degree down sleeping quilt. Weighs 2 pounds, 2.5 ounces with the bag. All right, you guys are gonna love this one. A bear canister. What, you don't need that? I'm taking the bear canister from day one. A lot of people have issues with mice on the trail, probably throughout the whole trail, especially starting off in the desert. You could get a food bag, which would weigh a lot less. This is 2 pounds, 8 3/4 ounces of weight added to the pack. It's a lot of weight, but I do like just having all my food in here, secure. I could leave it outside of my tent. I know nothing is gonna get in there. And it also doubles as a camp chair. I mean, it is the perfect height for a camp chair when you don't have a rock or a log or something to sit on. So yeah, bear canister. And I got a few other things in here, so I'm gonna go ahead and open it up and see what's in there. Okay, full canister of fuel. This is the large canister of fuel. It's coming in at 12.5 ounces. There will probably be times on the trail where I'm having to carry 2 of these. If I have one that's low and I don't want to run out, I'm probably gonna have more than 12.5 ounces worth of fuel at a time, and sometimes maybe a little bit less. Emergency blanket. I like having this. I've needed it before. Out of dozens, maybe hundreds of overnight trips, I've needed it on one trip, but it was really nice having it. I've used it on other trips, even though it wasn't really necessary. The emergency blanket is 2 7/8 ounces. All right, camp towel, 4 5/8 ounce. Pretty self-explanatory. Dry myself off. I have this Z-Packs Camp Wallet. It's empty right now. It's 1/8 ounce empty. I'll probably have a little bit of cash and my ID, credit card, that kind of thing. I've purchased the Trails Illustrated by National Geographic Pacific Crest Trail series of maps. This map weighs 2 3/8 ounce, and I may have 2 or 3 on me at a time, but starting off, I will just have one map. All right, my bathroom set. Can't really see what's in there. It is, I have some Vaseline for lip care and for chafing, soap, toothbrush, toothpaste, suntan lotion, and nail clippers in there as well. The bathroom set comes in at 4 1/8 ounce. I'll be taking a small amount of guy line with me as well. There's been situations before where either you need it for something or even just to hang laundry. If you're gonna do laundry on the trail, I like running a line across a couple trees and you could dry everything out. So 7/8 ounce. My eating utensils. I got the big spork and I got a spatula, and this is coming in at an even 2 ounces. I have a compass that I'm also taking along on the trail. This was my grandmother's. It has a D for Dorothy, and it comes in at 7/8 of an ounce. And next I have my cook set. I have 2 pots, a lid, matches, another poncho in here, which really doesn't go with the cook set theme, but it fits. I have a microfiber towel that will be my towel to wash my dishes with. The Snow Peak pocket rocket, a salt and pepper shaker. So all of that comes in at 13 1/4 ounces. All right, we're getting down there. My tent. So the Z-Packs duplex with the tent stakes, 1 pound, 10 1/8 ounce. Little on the heavy side for a duplex because I do have 12 tent stakes. That's for the ground sheet, the tent, and then the extra pull outs on the side. Z-Packs duplex. And last thing I got in here is my Z-Packs stuff sack pillow. I have my extra warm clothes inside here. So the Z-Pack stuff sack pillow with the extra warm clothes comes to 1 pound, 9 3/8 ounce. Let's take a look and see what I got in here. We got base layer bottom, skull cap, a buff, base layer top, extra pair of socks for hiking so I could switch them out, warm socks for the tent, and a pair of gloves. Now pretty much all of that is for inside the tent. I like to switch over to clean clothes in the evening. I put on my base layers, my warm socks, probably the skull cap, nice and cozy in the tent. And then any clothes that I'm not wearing, I'll turn the stuff sack pillow inside out and I can throw all of this in there. Roll it up, and there you go. That's my pillow. The Z-Packs stuff sack pillow. So all of that gear, everything I showed you, comes in at 17 pounds, 6 1/2 ounces. That is my base weight for starting the Pacific Crest Trail. You know, I may drop a few things after I get started, but we're looking at like 17 pounds. And then once I get up to the Sierras, mile 700, Kennedy Meadow South, I'll be shipping up some additional gear if necessary. So depending on the temperature, if necessary, I'll be sending up these down booties from Goose Feet Gear that I'll be sending up to the Sierras if it is cold enough and if I think I really need them. 3 1/4 ounce. I have heavier base layers. Here's the top and then bottoms. This is 6 1/8 ounce. Some heavier duty gloves if there's a lot of snow. And again, depending on the temperature, what time I reach the Sierras, if I need these. These came in at 1 3/8 ounce. And if I don't ship up those warmer, heavier set gloves, I'll probably definitely ship these. They kind of an insulated glove liner that you could put underneath your other cotton gloves, just to keep your hands a little extra, give yourself a little extra warmth. And hopefully I don't need the micro spikes. 14 3/8 of an ounce, so I may not need these, but if I do, I have this inflatable sleeping pad. It's Alps Mountaineering. It is 1 pound, 1 3/8 ounces. So again, at that higher elevation, it's gonna be a little bit cooler. Nemo Switchback may not cut it for the Sierras. So I'll ship this up to myself, and if it pops or gets a hole, I probably won't replace it. I'll probably just use the switchback for the remainder of the trail. And one piece of gear that I am going to ship up to Kennedy Meadows South, regardless of how warm, how cold, how much snow, is my down jacket. Every time I mention down, I feel like these guys get closer to me. So, definitely going to ship this up to myself. I would typically start with it because I like using this inside of the Z-Packs stuffed sack pillow. But to save an additional 1 pound, 3.5 ounces for the first part of the trail, I'll be leaving this at home and then sending it up with the other winter stuff. But yeah, it's a Marmot synthetic down. This in the combination with a stuffed sack pillow, you get an amazing night's sleep. So those first 700 miles, I'll be looking forward to receiving this, I'm sure. But yeah, this will be getting sent up to Kennedy Meadows South. So there you have it. I think that's everything. The initial gear, 17 pounds, 6 ounces. And then the winter gear was about an additional 4 pounds if I send all of that stuff up to the Sierras. So that would give me a 21 pound, 6 ounce base weight going into the Sierras, minus my electronics. It's about an additional
10 pounds of gear.
Between camera, batteries, cords, and all that stuff. So I should have that electronics video coming out maybe in the next few weeks. So thanks for checking out the video. If you'd like to follow me on my Pacific Crest Trail through hike attempt in 2026, subscribe to the channel. And if you found the information in this video helpful or entertaining in any way, please like the video so YouTube will suggest it to more people. Or I'm gonna pack all this up and get out of here. I'll see you on the trail.